Stand by for action. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. Oh, welcome to another exciting show. Hey! And tonight we're so excited, aren't we? We're overcome by excitement. So tonight we've got Survivalist Dave. Wow, we've dragged in kicking
back again by unpopular demand, and this time without the mask.
Without the mask.
The real.
There's the man behind the mask.
And
So I'm no longer mysterious. So apologies to all the ladies who was going, "Ooh, he's mysterious."
No, he's not.
You're up there in Scarbados, aren't you? The exotic gateway to the east.
That's right, mate.
Yeah, and I'm the only southern bastard on this show tonight, aren't I? Really, you know.
You repeat after me. Shut up, you Novan monkey.
Oh,
He's having a laugh, isn't he?
He's having a laugh. He's having a laugh.
And a giraffe, and we've got bees fucking off to fuck them, and we got. I've had to put Eric the Flatulent tonight, a big stinking Fockham Hall, you know. But the thing is, you see, Fockham Hall is the smallest country in the world, unless you know differently.
Yes.
And people have been emailing me about things like, well, like what do they call it now? T-shirts with Fockham Hall on them,
Mugs.
caps, mugs, and things like that. And I'm seriously looking into it because. And also, I'm still designing the bloody passport. It's because, you see, you can't be a citizen. You could be an individualist of Fockham Hall. So you have joint citizenship, you see. So, you know, as Yorkshire Deb and Dave can be Fockham Hall individualists. So they say, have you means of ID and show your Fockham Hall passport. You know?
Exactly.
And it's going to have Bob the cat. It's a competition. Do we have Bob the cat on the front? Or do we have the Prime Minister of Fockham Hall, who is Roger the cat, whose surname's Ring, because all statesmen around the world like Roger Ring the cat.
Yeah.
And here he is. There's Roger Ring the cat, you see.
Okay.
So that's it. People have got dirty minds, haven't they?
Yeah.
So apparently Obama likes Roger Ring the cat. Because he likes to be known as Roger Ring the cat, you see. So there we are, Roger the cat. So
Mike's voted already and said Bob.
Oh, he likes Bob. Okay.
Yeah, he likes
It's
Bob.
going to be the only passport.
What's your channel name again? This bird wants to listen.
It's Eric von Essex.
Yeah.
We're very professional on this channel, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, tonight, you see, I'm going to show ladies my helmet. There it is. Here we are. See, people have got dirty minds, and Dave and I are going to show our pointy things. These.
Excuse me.
See? So,
I've got a pointy thing too.
and you've got a pointy thing, so we all got pointy things. It's all survivalism. But before we go any further, lots of people have been a bit down this week, a bit Tom and Dick and all this, you know. So should we have some tinkly music just to sort of? Yeah, where's the bleeding tinkly music? I've forgotten where it's from. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
It somewhere.
Any minute now.
Think it'll heal my bite? What's a bite? I think I was bitted.
I have one on here actually.
Did you?
Somewhere, where is it? Here. There it is there. It's got a 6.
No.
Right there.
We're all being feasted upon.
And that's it. And also, if you want to relax, remember, you can just press there. Press there. And there. Oh, I can't see it.
No, can't see that.
Right, you got there, and you press there.
I was trying to do that the other night. I couldn't remember where it was.
It was there. And I'm not a professional, so, you know, please seek professional advice, but this is a little bit of advice. It calms you down. Or just massage between there.
That's good for headaches, that bit. If you massage that when you've got a headache.
Yeah, that's it. It's acupressure, but it's the real professional is obviously Dr. Miles Fleetwood, who will be coming on the show very soon. So, and we're going to have an advert for him as well, because he'll be coming on a Thursday, I believe, and we're going to be doing some Thursday shows. So that's going to be but interesting, isn't it? Right. So how should we kick off? Should we do some adverts first, or shall we go into chat? Let's have a quick shifty in chat. Bloody hell!
I can't see the chat. Where's the chat?
It's on the right hand side.
It should be on your right.
It's not. Not on here, it ain't.
Oh
no, it ain't. Oh shit! Hang on.
Never mind.
Sorry.
Anyway,
it's gone.
Turned himself off.
It's just twitched itself off. Dave, come back. Anyway,
let's have a look in chat then.
Right.
And we've got Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello,
Jojo, Mike. Bob from rugby. Rick is in.
Sorry. Am I back?
You're back.
You see me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I disappeared. I can't find the chat, so
whatever.
We'll pop it up on screen if anything comes up for you, Dave.
Yeah.
Why ain't it showing up on here?
I don't know.
It
should be.
Got Dave on a date site. Laugh out. Right.
He's talking to a bird.
Talking to a bird. So you start off with survivalist tips. Now, I've found there's one simple thing. If you're going to buy tin cans, anything tinned, yes, food will stay fresh in there virtually forever. But if you want to keep cans for a long time, don't buy ring pull cans, because the steel is a little bit thin around the top. And it tends to rust and corrode around that ring pull area. And there's got more chance of the air getting in than an ordinary tin can where you need a can opener to use. So that's a little tip. So avoid ring pull cans if you want to keep it for a long time. Also, for tomatoes, as we know, because the acid in tomatoes they say, can in the inside of the can away. Now, I've got a load of peaches that are about 10 years old in a can, and I'm going to use them in cooking. I'm going to do some peach crumble and things like that. Yeah. So that's perfectly okay. The thing is, smell it, a little bit of taste. And the other thing that they do, isn't it right, Dave, in Survivalist? I think he's busy tapping it with his girlfriend now. You put it on the inside of your jaw like that, and if you collapse and you like that, you know that it's not right. But no, seriously, if it smells a bit off, chuck it away. Just be on the right side.
Use your nose. That's
right. I mean, you can store pasta for 30 odd years. Most things like that. Rice, you can. I'm a little bit iffy with rice, because with rice, what happens, you've got to be, I think it's botulism, you've got to be careful of. And when you boil it, you've got to really boil it.
And you've to eat it hot.
Really?
Yeah. Rice is it.
I've warmed it up more times than you can shake a stick at.
Well, I have, but they tell you that you've got to warm it up correctly.
Yeah, they tell you that vaccines are good for you as well, don't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
Right there, Dave.
Be careful with those words, because remember
sorry about that. Yeah, we all love Bill Gates. Oh yes.
Oh yes. Well, do you know the story of how he named his famous firm that makes crap software? It's actually on his wedding night, his wife, he was trying to find the name for his software firm. And his wife looked down at his wedding tackle and said, "That's it, Microsoft." Anyway, sorry, it's a terrible joke. Also, you know, this ULEZ thing, we could all get away with it. You see, why haven't lesbians said, it's saying that you are a lesbian? It says ULEZ. Well, I'm not a lesbian, so I can drive through. It's not a problem. So, you know, why aren't lesbians saying, why is it singling us out? Because it says ULEZ. I mean, when you think about it, it's logical, isn't it?
It could also be a bloke called Leslie.
It could be. What about Bill Stickers? I mean, they keep saying he's going to be prosecuted, don't they?
Who?
Bill Stickers. Bill Stickers will be prosecuted. Poor sod.
Yeah, I haven't seen that bloke yet.
No, that's it. So, Dave, over to you. I've said my little piece for tonight, and I was going to bring my Swiss Army knife on, but it's actually in the bike shed, and I was going to say piss down with rain, but that's rude, so I'm going to say hiss down with rain. So I said, I won't bother to go and get it. But I think Dave's brought his one on as well.
Yes.
So Dave, I'm a Swiss Army knife fanatic, and Victorinox. There are Chinese rip-offs, but you've got to get the real one. And I'm not getting paid to say this, but if you want some cheap ones that are Victorinox, the proper one, go to the Swiss shop. And I think it's actually
Switzerland.
No, it's actually in Britain. I think it's in Leicestershire.
All
and
right.
I got £5 off. So I got a Swiss Army knife for about 30 quid, even though I had several, because trying to call them army knives, they're tools really, and they are really high quality. I don't look at anything else but Swiss Army knives. I take that with me with recycling and things like that. That's really, the thing. But so shall we show our tools off first? So this is the one that I take.
Get your tools out, lads.
This is not a Victorinox. This is a cheap shitty thing, but it's pretty, pretty good. And you've got all the bits and bobs on there, but quality's a bit crap. But this is the business. Now that's a tool. But the trouble is, I can't take it with.
Here's a special wave to Jill in the chat.
Hello, Jill.
Hello, Jill. Is Jill the special lady?
Very special, yeah.
Hello, very special lady. Hey. Oh, he's in love.
You should have romantic music going now.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, get my violin out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Jill. His name's Jack, isn't it? Anyway, so you've got a special tool as well, haven't you, Deb? That's why B's fucking.
I have a Gerber that weighs an absolute ton, but
Gerber's good.
It does have. It is quite a meaty little thing, and I have used it this afternoon actually.
Really?
Because I had to do a repair. So I've been using it this afternoon, but it's got a saw. It's got two saws. It's got a file. It's got a thing for getting Boy Scouts out of horses' hooves, and it's my favourite weapon. I don't mean weapon. I mean tool.
Boy Scouts out of horses' hooves. Sorry about that one. Now, Dave, you've got one, haven't you? You've got a super duper tool there.
Yeah, it's what it is it's part of my everyday carry wallet kit here. This. No survivalist should leave home without this. Number one, Victorinox Ranger Swiss Army knife, specially added with reflective material in case you lose it in the leaf litter in the woods. Remember, it is a survival item, and it won't get used until it's needed, so we don't have to do any maintenance on it. It lives in this pouch, and then. Obviously, there's an amount of bank line cordage here, a small amount, enough for me to do whatever I have to do to get a bow drill fire working. Yep. And there's these stand-up medical liquid bottles that you roll over. It holds 1 litre of water. This, and with care, you can boil water above coals in these because it's heat-resistant plastic.
Right.
And you roll them over at the top. It's a water carrier. Small first aid items. Pieces of duct tape with a flammable plastic inside, which takes open flame.
Yeah.
Small first aid items. This is an interesting item. It's a whistle.
I've got one of them.
And it's also a ferro rod with a striker, so you can generate spark with that. So obviously, for all you bushcrafters out there, you know what kind of bark and things to look for.
Yeah.
To take a spark or what kind of fungus takes it. And anybody who don't, then I suggest you learn it.
Yes.
Obviously, the obligatory pound shop lighter with a torch on the bottom.
They're good.
2 survival items for 33p.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're
They're
on a
brilliant.
budget. Oh yeah. I recommend getting the Ivy's colour one as well as a water purification tablets here.
Oh, candle tablets.
We survive out of our pockets, so you should really be carrying the bare minimum that you need, and then if you're carrying an everyday carry rucksack or something similar, then you'd obviously have your the activated carbon water purifying canteen here, which you can fill from any river or lake, and it instantly turns it into drinkable water.
Could you fill it from a big puddle, Dave?
Oh yeah, well, anything. I mean, if you put beer in it, it filters everything apart from the water out. So
Right.
it'll do anything. It's a really it's by a firm called Drink Safe Systems UK.
Right.
There's no waiting time on that. As soon as you fill it up, you squeeze it out and it works. I also have this. I'm not going to get them all out, but I also have this. This is an empty bottle, but it's full up with these life raft packs of emergency drinking water.
Yeah.
And these are long life water. Ignore the use by dates on them because they'll last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
They're designed to be drunk all in one go. The old survivalist mantra: don't ration your water. Drink it all in one go. Ration your sweat.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you replace it until your thirst is satiated, because trying to ration your water is a fool's game. You'll just die of dehydration a lot quicker, and you won't get anywhere because small amounts don't help you.
Yeah.
And also, you'll be nervous at the time when you first things start to happen.
Yeah, in a high stress situation, you want to be gulping water down. You don't want to be sipping it because the cortisol that gets released in a high stress situation can cause you a great deal of harm if you're dehydrated as well. It can lead to irregular heartbeat, even an heart attack, depending on what's happening to you at the time. Because obviously you might be in a without rule of law situation where the whole grid's gone down, and you need to manage these stress hormones because they're your biggest enemy. Yeah, so that's only a tiny amount of equipment there. Chris has asked me to bring the solar charging equipment with the battery because I mean, nowadays we've all got one of these, and you can have offline food identification material in it. It holds 50 bucks this thick, so it's daft not to have one. But you need the ancillaries to go with it so that you can charge it off grid via the solar panel. Which, and if you want, I can get that out and show you it. But they're pretty basic.
But and also,
anybody in the chat that wants to put any questions up, then feel free.
I've got a question already from Rick. He says, aside from the total collapse of society, are there any particular signs Dave is looking for?
Yeah, well, I'm actually monitoring what's happened to the Silicon Valley Bank this week. That's gone tits up. Sorry, that's gone into receivership. Politically correction there. Anyway, there's a large school of thought among pundits that this may be the purposeful tipping of the first domino for the entire banking system to collapse in order to create panic and fear. And it's the old Hegelian dialectic of problem, reaction, solution. They make everybody terrified. They can't get the money out. And obviously, the consensus of opinion is that they're going to use this fear to usher in the central bank digital currency, the CBDC, at which point Bitcoin and everything will be outlawed. And any money that goes into your bank will have a spend by date, so there'll be no more saving up. And this is the tyranny that we're all trying to avoid. And we're, as survivalists, we're trying to make it so that if you don't want to engage with the new system, whatever you want to call it, the religious people might call it the new beast system, because it's mentioned in the Bible and things. I don't subscribe to that, but I respect those that do.
Yeah.
It's important, in my view, which is why I originally came on this series of shows, that I try and help people with bits of equipment that they can carry, where you don't need massive amount of training and skill to be able to avoid having to live in the grid. So you can escape this CBDC trap that's on its way, but you need to know what you're doing, and it's important. And when I said the first time I was on over a year ago, it's important to know what you're doing, because the support systems that we all unfortunately rely on could get taken away at any time.
Yeah.
And I've made it my business to teach myself since 2009 how to be able to exist without the help of these clowns.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
But also it happens very quickly. I mean, look at that lockdown. I mean, one day.
Well, look what happened in Greece, in Cyprus. They shut all the banks, and they said, "Oh, you're only allowed 50 quid out." Oh, hang on, I've got 100 grand in. Oh, so you aren't now. We've took it.
Yeah.
They don't give you a warning on things like that. I advise everybody who's watching not to have any money in the bank. You want it in a big tin in your house.
Better take the 50p out then.
That's right. We're also having Roger Hayes coming on in May, early May. It was going to be late April, but it's early May now because he's coming back from New Zealand. He's English, but he's in New Zealand at the moment, and he's going to be talking about debt-free currency, and that's going to be very interesting. But the thing is if you want to preserve your savings, buy gold sovereigns.
Yes.
Because
silver bullion.
Or silver bullion.
Silver bullion. For those who are on a budget, silver bullion is where you want to be, because loads of smart money online, and Max Kaiser and a few of his friends, everybody's heard of Max Kaiser, are saying that when the massive collapse comes to usher in CBDC, silver will achieve parity with gold. Right. So it's going to go up absolutely massively. I've bought a few kilos of it. And obviously, you don't do it if you can't afford to do it. If you can't afford to sit on it, then don't compromise your weekly budget or out buying it. But if you've got a few quid laying about, buy a few kilos of that for a few grand, and then it might be worth 500 grand. And when it gets to that, that's the time to sell it for whatever currency is still here before the CBDC comes out, and buy land.
Yeah.
Because that's a resource that's never going to go out of fashion. Yeah.
Also, what I was told is that, I mean, at the moment, if you look at the price of gold sovereigns, only buy gold sovereigns if you're going to buy gold. That's what Dave Starbuck advised me. And the reason why is people recognise, don't buy jewellery. Jewellery is not worth it. Gold jewellery. Gold, everybody recognises gold sovereigns. And they're about £400 now, give or take, about just under £400 for a sovereign. Now, in 2008, they were £180. Just think how that's gone up in price. Now, for a silver sovereign, it's about 30 quid, £30. Now, what they advise is to have gold sovereigns to protect your savings, and silver sovereigns to pay builder, decorator, or whatever, because it's a lower denomination. So if you've got these lower denomination coins, you can always buy things like milk or whatever, or food. So that was the advice that's given. But you can buy it directly offline, and you've got the big boys like Bullion Direct and things like that. But I go to a place in Sheffield, and the name escapes me now, but they're very, very good. Atkinson's, I think it's called. Atkinson's. Look them up. But you've got to watch the price, because it's going up and down all the time. And I've found that the price generally drops in gold over the weekend. It stabilizes. So it go up to maximum and go down. And it's really, you need a crystal ball to work it out, because gold is going up and down all the time. But if you think, whenever there's a threat of war, then the price of gold goes through the roof. Yeah. And of course, with this thing in, shall we say, Eastern Europe, what's going on there, then who knows? So that's the wise thing to do. And gold is real money, because with a sovereign, 100 years ago, you could have the same spending power with a gold sovereign 100 years ago as you've got today, because it's real money. So that's the thing. And paper money is worth. And did you know that in 1933, the America, they outlawed using gold sovereigns and ordered everyone to, if they've got gold sovereigns, or sorry, gold dollars, to take them to the bank, and they will get paper money in return. If they didn't, they would be, they could be sent to prison. And nobody knows what happened to that gold. It's the biggest rip-off ever. In 1933 it happened. So few people know it. Not many people know that. So there we go. That's right. So shall we go back into chat? Because I think we got a few questions in there.
There's two more questions, both from Ray.
Ray. Good show with Deb you did. Very interesting.
Thank you. Right. Does Dave expect a nuclear conflict at some point?
Well, this view may surprise some viewers, but I can assure you it's very, very well researched, with the help of the great John Hamer, author. Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody knows who he is. A chapter in his Falsification of History, and the one in Falsification of Science fully explains the problems with expecting a nuclear conflict. The main problem with that is they've never had nuclear weapons and they don't exist. It's been a huge psyop, a fear porn scam since Robert Oppenheimer, the debacle that they said they'd unleashed nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when in reality those cities were firebombed. And but the viewer is quite right to be alarmed, because during the like Bikini Atoll and various other atoll alleged nuclear tests, gangs of Marines were piling up 1,000 tons of dynamite on each island, and 1,000 tons of dynamite on the other island, and a few accounts of the Marines that these are historical accounts, you can look them up, was asking their commanding officer, why are we piling up thousands of tons of dynamite? And the commanding officer said, well, on that other island over there, they're going to set off an atom bomb, and we're going to set off the same amount, 1,000 tons, 1 kiloton of dynamite, so that they can compare the two. Right? But the team that was piling the dynamite up on the other island got told the same.
All right.
And all it is 1,000 tons of dynamite. Now we've got 100 megaton alleged nuclear weapons. So if they wanted to say foist a nuclear attack on people's minds and make people believe that nuclear war has broken out, then what they'll do is they'd go to, say, a massive warehouse in Birmingham, pile 100,000 tons of dynamite up, yeah, and then get some radioactive waste from a nuclear power station, scatter it about on top, set the 10,000 tons of dynamite off. A giant 2-mile high mushroom goes up above Birmingham, and everybody's Geiger counters start going mad. And then you've got the same propaganda effect as you sadly had in World War I, that got whole towns joining up together to fight this horrendous enemy. Now they could tell us that the Chinese have sent it, and everybody had signed up for a trench war against China. They could say the Russians had done it, and everybody had signed up in their gullible droves to repeat World War I. Now, this is the only way that they can foist the illusion of nuclear war on people, and it'd be very effective, because 10,000 tons of dynamite will create a gigantic mushroom in the sky that will stay there for hours and hours, just like the movies, and people will believe that it's a nuclear weapon that's come over. They will believe it. So it'd be fair, even though it's not a real threat as they describe it. These ICBMs don't work. They can't deliver a nuclear payload because there is no nuclear fission. Nuclear fusion is a myth. The nuclear power stations have got a massive question mark over them. Aaron Dover died suddenly, mysteriously, whilst he was trying to expose what mechanism these power stations actually do use to extract electricity, and he was positing the theory that the infrastructure for the electric grid is on pylons high in the sky, as opposed to being buried where it'd last decades longer because it's not exposed to the elements. The reason why they have it up in the sky is because they are harvesting 0-point energy, atmospheric electricity, like Tesla described. Right? And an electrician friend of mine, I asked him a question, and I said, if you're testing the current that's going through these cables, can you tell what direction it's going in? Whether it's going from left to right or right to left? He said, no, you can only tell if it's there or not. So these alleged nuclear power stations could just be transformers,
right? Yeah.
Storage and distribution units. The electric might be coming right out of the atmosphere and going down the wires in both directions simultaneously. And this is the myth of nuclear fusion and nuclear fission that they keep going on about. They're harvesting Tesla 0-point energy, and they're selling it to us for a fortune in the biggest con that's ever been perpetrated.
I agree with you. Well, there's one near where
that's my view, and everybody can take that out and do what they want with it.
Where I live, they've got a power station at Hoddesdon, and they've got these cables, these great big pylons going along the Lee Valley to Waltham Abbey, and there's like a sort of electrical unit that they go into, and that's it. And you think, and this goes for about, I don't know how many miles, 7 or 8, probably 10 miles. And as you're cycling along in the Lee Valley, you're looking at, there's these bloody great cables going along by the side of the railway track. And people say, well, if they weren't nuclear bombs, how comes the men went down with sickness? Well, they had a load of beforehand, and that's how they pumped all the shit into them.
Yeah.
So that's would answer part of it. And they said, what about Chernobyl? Well, then when you look at Chernobyl, they said the place would be uninhabitable for thousands of years.
Oh yeah, but there's people still living in Chernobyl, and the animals are breeding like wildfire. And in Fukushima, in Japan, the wild pigs that live there are breeding that fast that they've gone completely out of control and overrun half the country. Yeah, they've had to send professional hunters in to kill them all. Now, if these was death zones, if this radiation was dangerous and it was a death zone 9 miles across or whatever they're saying it is, these pigs wouldn't be breeding there. That pigs are physiologically almost identical to humans. That we share our organs, right? There's no way in the world these animals would be breeding as happy as Larry running about in this death zone. You know, they must think we've all come up on the last banana vote from Brazil.
Yeah.
You're spot on there. You took the words out of my mouth, because quite honestly,
they'll just tell you anything that you're daft enough to believe.
Well, look at that poor sod. He was the unluckiest man in the world, using Hiroshima and Nagasaki. He's in both
at the same time. Yeah, the same guy witnessed both bombs from 10 yards away. Yeah, I remember him.
That's right. And he lived to 90.
Yeah.
90 years
he's obviously operating with honour and integrity, isn't he?
Yeah.
When I was at college, we saw these. Why they showed us these films, I don't know. Grisly films that were uncensored, and I still think the public's not allowed to see them. That were taken at Hiroshima when they were treating the people with burns. I mean, they showed it before lunchtime, and we couldn't handle it, and it was in Technicolor.
Nice.
And these people were literally burnt, terribly burnt. And you realise that you know it didn't add up. A lot of it just does not add up, because what we're told and what actually happens are two different things. And it's just the shit of the bull bullshit.
Yeah,
basically. That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
The shit of the bull. And I told you last week I was writing a book called Ambio, the Association of Master Bovine Excrement Observers, where I think that bullshit should be a kind of art form that we act like sort of critics. Yeah. So someone's bullshit and go, yes, and sort of offer advice on how to do it better, you know. So I think it's a sort of an art, bullshitting. It really is.
So even though we've digressed from the original chat question, are we in fear of nuclear war? I'm hoping that we've highlighted that, yes, it is something to be feared, but at the same time, it's not real. It will be a fabrication. And don't worry about radiation, seriously. It's just it's just a myth. I mean, I can't remember the guy's name. Can you remember the guy's name who went round all those colleges eating uranium in front of everyone?
Oh,
and he lived to be 90 or something.
Yeah.
He swam in a swimming pool full of it, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, swam in a swimming pool full of it. Yeah, it was demonstrating that it's all rubbish. Yeah.
There's
He's quite a famous guy. What's his name? Can you Google him?
I can't remember it.
No, we can't remember his name. Sorry about that to the viewers. We can't remember his name, but it really is real. We wouldn't make it up.
Actually,
yeah, they don't call us Boris Johnson. Yeah.
Well, actually, Dave, there's a question
or Bill Gates, or Jonathan Van Tam, or Chris Whitty. Yeah, we don't make shit up.
Well, actually, Dave, there's a question from Rick Allen, which I think we can only answer on the Naughty Show, which is BitChute. Now, talking about the Naughty
BitChute channel, yeah.
I've got a BitChute channel, which we have a Naughty Show on there. And a copy of this show, if I'm not censored by YouTube, goes on to BitChute the next day. And it's the Naughty Channel. And we're going to do a show with Deborah Hatswell on there, and Deb, of course. We're going to talk about naughty things. And I think we can't really answer.
I hasten to add that I'm not on that channel, okay?
Well,
I don't go on there.
Oh, you're pure-minded, aren't you, Dave? You
no, I'm not pure-minded. I just don't like talking about naughty things online. It's
oh no,
it gives you a bad rep. You know.
That's right. Well, this question, I don't think you can answer this.
I only do naughty things in person, and when it's absolutely consensual.
I do.
I'm going to that. I think we can answer this question on the Naughty Channel. We ain't going to attempt it on here, mate. No way.
Hang on, who does Dave think are the ultimate rulers of society? I'm not sure we're allowed to say that word on here, are we?
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Can you spell it out?
Well, it rhymes with kangaroos, shoes, who's, and peekaboos. Anybody want any more clues?
Oh, he's witty tonight.
Only the psychopath ones, though. We hasten to add, because they're not all psychopaths. We'll add that one.
Oh yeah,
yeah. No, I like this one.
I found the name, Galen Windsor. Yeah, I'm just going to say that. I found the name.
Galen Windsor is the guy who went round all the colleges in America eating uranium and plutonium, proving that it's harmless. Galen Windsor. All the viewers can Google him. He's a real person, and he lived till a ripe old age.
Yes.
He's dead now, obviously.
Yeah, but he lived to a ripe old age. According to mainstream science, he should have been dead in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, not 40 years.
Rick made a comment here. The only way to survive will to build your own army. You won't survive as an individual. Yeah,
that's an interesting point. There's a guy, a well-known guy on YouTube called Athos Outdoor Explorer, I think. Athos. So I'll just have a look, because I've got him on my list here. And he builds these covert underground shelters, which are just for one person. And I promise you, right, there's no way in the world you will ever see him. And I don't care if you're walking 5 yards away from him, right? And he's called Athos Outdoor Prospector, ATHOS. And if you think that you can't survive alone without an army, I suggest you watch his covert survival shelter building videos, and nobody will be able to find him. Not a chance.
I think it's going to happen.
They've got to find you before they can do anything to you. And if you're fairly well equipped to escape an evasion, or you're with me, you'll be laughing.
But isn't this right, Dave? You've got to have that. That is a survivalist thing.
Yeah, peanut butter, best survival food you can possibly carry. I can turn 1 cubic inch of peanut butter into 30 kilos of meat.
Yes, you can.
Just by using it as bait for traps. Nothing can resist it.
But also,
all the animals love it.
Me crawling along the floor after it.
Yeah.
Now, also a little top tip. Now, Dave and I, we like tits in our garden, don't we, Dave? We're talking about blue tits.
Wild birds, yeah.
Wild birds.
Colourful wild birds in our garden, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to
Thank
attract
you.
blue tits, especially in the winter, get a toilet roll tube, you see, and coat it with peanut butter. Now, I've got crunchy peanut butter, but I don't like crunchy peanut butter.
Oh, I do.
For £1 because it's slightly out of date. So I can
Yeah.
Okay, because it doesn't go out of date because it's got salt in it. So there we go.
Yeah, it's the perfect trap bait. It's phenomenal.
That's it. You smother this.
It sticks to anything, so it's great for bait sticks. It sticks to fish hooks. It sticks to everything.
Yeah.
If you coat a toilet roll tube with that, then roll it in seed and hang it up. You get all the dicky birds all going onto it, and robins and all the little small birds.
Until a massive squirrel just eats the full roll.
Correct.
Including the cardboard.
That's correct, yes. Like crows on it.
Squirrel.
Yeah. You know it makes sense.
Well, the cat the other day going, and there's all the robins are going, balls, going onto this that was hanging up, you know, and it's lovely. It attracts tits and robins and blackbirds and the occasional crow. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you. Yes, it's a sort of got very posh birds around our way. You know, they sort of, you know, pigeons called Felicity and Cuthbert. But no, that is a good tip always, and also for your eating, this gives you a lot of energy as well.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, very good.
Yeah, it's the ultimate survival food, peanut butter. I mean, if you want to carry it in dry form, just have a big bag of peanuts. You can easily turn it into peanut butter by chewing it up.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, well, it's right. It is right. Just chew it up and it's peanut butter, isn't it? I'm talking about in a survival situation. Yeah. I'm not advocating the masticating of peanuts in public and then the production of oral peanut butter. Just so the viewers don't get confused there. Okay? Top tip.
Honestly, sharing it with other people. Do you want some peanut butter?
Yeah. And anybody who doesn't like it can just use their friendly neighbourhood horse to chew it up for them, can't they?
I'll tell you another one, which is very, 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 very useful, is have what I call an emergency bag. And in an emergency bag, you see, in an emergency, it will happen suddenly. You might have to get out of the house pretty quick. Things like that. And I've got 48 hours of rationing. So all I have is enough food for 48 hours because that's all I can carry on me with all the rest of it. What you can survive with. And
yeah, I mean, in reality, you should focus on carrying enough snacks that are ready to eat.
Yeah. That
you can carry, but not too much because it'll slow you right down. But your main thing is the capacity to get water. You can survive for weeks without food.
Yeah.
But you need water, and obviously you can carry food to a certain extent. It gives you an energy boost when you might need it in a high stress situation. So I'm not saying don't carry it, but don't make it a massive priority. But if you intend to quote bug out instead of bugging in your house, which shouldn't be a good idea unless it's the last resort, then you really need to know what you're doing before you do it, because you can carry snacks, but you've had it. If you don't know how to procure food in the environment, either a semi-urban environment or a wild environment in the woods, say, then your options are limited and your days are numbered. So I once again like to reiterate that it's not as hard as it's made out to be by these big YouTube channels. Oh yeah, I'm a professional survivalist. It's really hard to do. It's not that hard. I've taught myself to do it, and I'm now proficient enough to show anybody who wants to learn how to do it. Now, what I'm saying is it's important to know the basics. I mean, wild edibles in the summer months and things like that, nettles and dandelions are just wall to wall, and you can live on them with nothing else.
Yeah.
Particularly nettles, they're one of the very few plants that you can completely live on. They've got a full entire complement of vitamins and minerals. Yeah. Nettles are just a miracle food.
Oh, yeah. And with a dandelion, you can heat a whole lot.
That's right. And you can make coffee. Dandelion, you can dry the root out. dry the root out, grind it up, and it's indistinguishable from coffee when mixed with boiling water. It makes your own coffee.
Yeah,
That's right.
I
That's
need to try that.
yeah. Also, with stinging nettles, directly put it in boiling water, the sting goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
also,
if you haven't got a load of boiling water deep enough to dip a big load of nettles in, then you can just wilt it in a flame above a heat source, above your campfire, and then that also neutralizes all the sting out of them, so you can eat them or put them in soup or whatever. I recommend boiling them and then drinking the fluid as well, because then you get all the vitamins.
also coming up, you see, also with, he doesn't know it yet, but Dave, and also I'll be going on a foraging walk, which is organised in May. I'm hoping to film it, parts of it, and also we're going to have a future program with Dave, and we're also going to have another future program with Deborah Hatswell and Dr. Fleetwood.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking of what wild plants you can actually eat.
What time of year?
What time of year and things like that. And the other thing is the right type of boots. And I didn't bring them with me, but you want Ortberg boots, which are okay. But I think you've got the best boots, haven't you, Dave?
Yeah. But I did have some Ortbergs, but I've upgraded to the lower combat GTX. Yeah, they're just the last word in boots for any situation. Very popular with the elite special forces, and
are they quite light?
Well, I mean, they're a very substantial boot. I'll actually go and get them. Right. I'll go and get them. I won't be long.
Okay. Whilst he's gone, I mean, I can talk about what I got as a nerd soundbite. Is you got to have the boots for cold, wet weather, but then if it's summer, have barefoot shoes. I'm not talking about the ones that look like toes. I'm talking the ones that look like trainers.
Yeah.
A little tip: go on to eBay, and they're bloody sight cheaper. You get the expensive ones on eBay for about 20 quid. So, you know, and sometimes that's about 15 quid. And barefoot shoes are very, very good. They look like trainers. And I'm not talking about the expensive.
Right, I'm back.
Now
I'm back.
Right, we can see that, and to prove it, you've arrived. That's what you call a boot.
That's a pair of boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying money for them. What I don't know, a couple of £100 or something like that. But you will never ever go wrong with them, and they're infinitely resolable. So you can get them resoled as many times as you like. And this
again, Dave? This
is the last word in boots for any survival situation.
What are they called
You
again?
don't get no better than that.
What they're called? Lacquer?
Lower, LOWA, Lower Combat GTX. GTX being a acronym for Gore-Tex, because the whole inside is Gore-Tex lined. And it's proper Gore-Tex as well, not that stuff you get in in Mountain Warehouse.
How would you rate Ortbergs though? I mean, I've gone for Ortbergs.
Excellent. I think they come a close second to the lower, but in my experience, if you can afford the best, you get it.
But they're made in Yorkshire. That's the difference. Ortbergs are made in Ortberg.
Ortbergs are made in Britain. These are Austria. These are made in Austria. Legendary European build quality.
And also for quality army surplus, I only go for Austria, Germany. And if you want crap, go for Polish or French.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to sort my chair out. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. But no, what's happened is I actually find that if you want good quality, German and Austrian army surplus is by far the best I've found. I haven't tried American stuff. And also, I did buy a Polish backpack, which was the biggest load of rubbish ever. And French is a bit iffy as well.
Yeah, for anybody who wants to, for anybody who wants to build like a bug out kit or even a kit for wild camping, I know there's a very special viewer in particular that's watching who likes wild camping, and we're hoping to explore that option in the future with a bit of luck. Now, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is I've recently upgraded my entire sleep system. I had the military modular sleep system, but I've decided to push the boat out, and I've gone for the Pilot and Pertex made in Sheffield Buffalo systems, right? and their sleep system is beyond compare.
Really?
It's literally beyond anything that's available anywhere. And I mean, and any of you Canadian viewers watching who swear by Wiggy's sleeping bags from Jerry Wiggator in Canada, yes, they're good, right? But they're not in this league. The temperature rating for my complete Buffalo sleep system, including the suggested garments to be worn inside whilst at lower temperatures, is coming round minus 110 degrees. So, and it's because it's a modular system, it's all adjustable. There's 3 layers to it plus the garments, so you can adjust it to all your seasons. And the beauty of it is, from a preppers and survivalist standpoint, is because there's no stuffing in it. It's just pile and Pertex. It's made from something called Aquatherm Extreme Pile, right, with a Pertex outer, and it's wicking. It's moisture wicking. That's what it does. So it will perform to the same level if you fill it up with water out of an hose pipe and then get in it.
Good heavens.
You can't do that with any other sleeping bag. Well, you can with Wiggies, but they're made of the lining's made from hydrophobic hollow fibre. But it's far more bulky, and also the beauty of these from a prepper standpoint, as I was going to say before I digressed again, is they can be stored totally compressed forever without ever losing any of their insulative capabilities. Now, this is unique to Buffalo. No other sleeping bag system anywhere can be stored fully compressed and not lose any of its insulative properties. So if you've got the money, I suggest you get a Buffalo sleep system if you're interested. Everybody's disappeared except me. Now Chris is back again.
Yeah, it does it every week. But the other thing was going to go on.
It backs out every week.
Debs, you've gone small and round like you're down a tunnel. It looks like you've gone down a tunnel.
I'm still looking at you all though.
Yeah.
Now this, believe it or not, is a stove. It's called a penny stove.
Yeah, I've made a few of them. Yeah, they're good.
Nothing. And I'm going to take this on the foraging walk, a large one, and I'm going to show people how to make one, but I can't do it on this show. I'm thinking of doing a film of it, of how to make a penny stove, because it's really simple. You need 2 Coke cans, and that's basically it. 2 Coke cans, you put them together, and you pierce the tops like that, and you can run it on methanol, you can run it on terps, you can run it on almost anything, really, and they're really good. And the reason they call them a penny stove is because you pour the liquid in the top there, you put a penny over the top, and the flames come out the sides, the little holes in the sides.
Like
yeah, and it's just very, very efficient. And you can get some meths, that's what they generally run on, in Tool Station. So it's pretty cheap, you know.
Right. Looking at Chris's homemade penny stove here, this stuff here, right? Yeah. Is pure bioethanol for indoor fireplaces, and it needs no flue, right?
Yeah.
Chris was looking at methylated spirits and methanol and things, but if you wanted to burn something similar to a penny stove or a Trangia burner in a tent, in a shelter, and you didn't want to risk poisoning with carbon monoxide, you can burn this indoors and it's absolutely safe. You buy it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's really versatile because it's got all the advantages of a meth stove fuel, right? But you can use it indoors as a heater.
Is it about 6 litres for 30 quid, did you say?
It was 12 litres for 50 odd quid last time I looked, because it went through the roof, which made my original fan stove design, that my tea pipe stove that a few people bought. It made it not really economical to run.
Yeah.
Because the fuel tripled in price.
But also, I've actually found that with that fuel, you can actually run primer stoves. So they say, because the trouble with paraffin is it stinks. Yeah. And I've got a 1938 primer stove, which is really old. And the trouble, it's very nice. It's really efficient. It roars like Concorde, but the stench that it's given off is awful. Now, can you sort of hold your enthusiasm, because we're going to talk about helmets now. Now, I had a goof helmet, you see.
Oh no, Chris has got his helmet out.
Here we
It's all
go.
it's all going downhill now.
And I used to
Right.
sort of, you know,
Things are deteriorating.
and guess what I bought? One that's like a German helmet.
Put it on then.
White. I think they're putting some white stripes down the side. They're going
Right.
around. Going, hello, how are you? You know.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You know. And,
Brad Pitt, eat your heart out, innit, eh? Brad Pitt, eat your heart out,
that's
son.
right.
Go on.
Hang on. And you can be man. Hey. And did I tell you about the cool thing that happened with me? You see, I'd always wanted a racing bike, and when I was a kid, my parents wouldn't let me have a bike because it was a bit dangerous. You see, and my neighbour gave me a racing bike. So I thought, wow, you know. Because I actually I get old wrecks. So I prefer to start old wrecks. So I went outside and thought, got my racing bike. And of course, you've got to put the shades on the correct way. So, hi, ladies. Hi. You know, there's real sort of groovy. And it's a nice sunny day. And I thought, right, I'm going to go for a ride on this. So as I got on the bike, first time out riding it, went round the corner. There was a woman round the corner. Went, hello. And I went, oh, hello. And fell ass over tip. So every time you try and be a bit flash, you broke down. That didn't work. So I was also hi one moment and walking like Dick Emery, you know, next moment.
Right. Is anybody interested in going into the off-grid charging section of this small amount of equipment that I've got to show tonight?
Yes.
Actually,
right.
shall we go for an advert beforehand? And
right, we're going to have one of Chris's amusing adverts.
No, we're going to have Deb's amusing advert, actually, aren't we?
Deb's amusing advert, okay.
Here it comes.
That's a step in the right direction.
Hey.
Where is it then?
You bleeding lost it. Hang on, I'm trying to find it. Where is it? I've lost it. I was looking in chat. Oh, shit. It's here somewhere. We're very professional, aren't we? We've advert gone. We've lost it. Whilst we're looking for it, should we have Blair's Cottage, Kath?
Oh, yeah, we haven't had that for a bit.
Come on in, let's have Blair's Cottage. Yeah.
Warning. The following advert may or may not contain references to food items and cigarettes. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey up, lads and lasses. Do you like to fur up your arteries on a regular basis? Are you bored with same old cuisine? Well, look no further than Blair's Cottage Cafe on High Street. Tony's faggots are bloody award-winning. They're all as fresh and up menu daily. Our big Tone loves a good faggot washed down with a big smug of tea. His missus Cherry's a right good pie maker too. She's too horrific to be seen behind counter, but you'll be sure to hear her knocking one out in kitchen. Remember to shout out when she yells front back, how many slices of custard wheat pie? Try out Smoker's Corner too, where there's a proper cracking selection of fags hanging about, ready for discerning customer. You'll be assured of a warm hand on your entrance at Blair's Cottage Cafe.
Improved since then.
Right, I found your advert. It's near the top. It's it's Deb's Channel 2, is it?
Yes.
Right, here it goes. It's Deb's advert now. Brilliant. That's a
That was
good-
supposed to fill the screen. I don't think I got the setting right on it, but never mind. You still saw it.
Yeah. Dave likes it. Anyway, Dave, you're gonna give us a quick flash of your solar stuff now.
Let's have a look at that then.
Okay then, right. As I said before, the mobile phone is a massive, massive asset in a survival scenario, because even though there might be no signal, you can store volumes of information in here in a very small format, which is brilliant while the battery's okay, but not so good when there is no battery, because it then becomes useless. Well, it's obviously not useless. Them that know what they're doing can make a fire out of a flat mobile phone, but you know, that's not for everyone, is it?
No.
And also, what's that book?
Right. This is a bag full of various cables, USB cable extension, so that you can run a charging, run an head torch while it's charging, right? So if you're limited with a short battery head torch, you can have it connected up to this Anker 21,000 milliamp power bank, and this will charge a mobile phone, a modern mobile phone, up from nothing to full at least 4 times before it needs to be charged.
I've got one of
So
them.
this is a massive, massive asset.
Yeah.
As far as charging up your USB rechargeable flashlights goes, head torches, and obviously the phone, which we're currently referring to. This is a phenomenal piece of kit, and it's the top make. It's better than all of them. That's been stored in that bag, fully charged up for over 18 months, and it hasn't even lost one light.
No,
it does not lose its charge. And obviously, in a longer term situation, you want this to go with it. And they're not expensive, they're well worth having, and I highly recommend it. It's the Anker PowerPort solar panel, and it folds out, and it's a full 21 watts, and it outperforms any other that's in the same price bracket. I mean, you can go mad and pay a lot of money for the super high performance ones.
But that's good enough.
The make I'm struggling with, but it's a real famous one. But these Anker ones, they're built to last, waterproof, and everything. And it charges anything up as long as there's some sun.
That's right.
Right.
Very, very important to have if you're reliant on charging things up. If you was off grid, you can pretty much guarantee that the sun is gonna come out at some point. And even if it only comes out for a small amount of time, you're gonna have enough to display maybe some vital information on here.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important thing to have. I realise it's a bulky item, and they're not light really. The battery, especially, isn't light, but it's worth its weight in gold when everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So you're right. Also, that small book, also Food for Free, is worth having as well.
Yeah, Food for Free. Yeah, I did a full segment on that a while back, and it's well worth getting. It's called Food for Free, and it's a wild edibles foraging guide, and it contains fantastic colour photos of all your wild edibles, which is, to be fair, I'm not absolutely brilliant on wild edibles. I know what I need to know.
Yeah.
But there is people who are experts on it, and they've wrote this book. So Food for Free.
Food for Free.
It's a brilliant book, and you can get it easily online. Easily, they're still printing it. In fact, you can get it new.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did. I bought a bigger book. It ain't got half of it in. You got to get the small little tiny book, and that's got a hell of a lot in it. But everybody knows what dandelion looks like, and everybody knows what a stinging nettle is. Well, it can just sting your hand, and you find out. They're easy to pick out, but there are some plants.
It's your berries, isn't it? Your berries and things that are a bit dodgy.
Well, was it? I think it's cowpath. There's one that's very similar to hemlock. If you get them wrong, hemlock is poisonous.
Yeah.
I don't touch mushrooms, but you've got to know exactly. And apparently, there's very few that are poisonous and that are very bad for you. But you know, things. But should we go back into chat because
we've got a comment. Oh, we've got a few. John, our mate John, is in.
John from America, USA,
and he says when Y2K was imminent, I ate a can of Hormel chili and beans as a test. I know the can was 20 years old. I ate a spoonful per hour for 3 hours and then finished it off, no problems.
Correct. It's airtight.
Yeah.
I'm actually going through peas now, about 13, 14 years old. You know, tins of peas.
He also says he bought a pair of Iowa lower Scout boots in 1974. They cost $55 back then, about $500 today.
Yeah.
They were among the best hiking boots ever made.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, lower. Can't go wrong.
Well, that's right. Yes.
Louise is saying, hello, everyone. Great to see Dave. They can't make nuclear weapons in the way they claim. Chernobyl was a test to raise fear over nuclear weapons and make people believe the results are catastrophic.
Yeah, very interestingly about Chernobyl there. I mean, a lot of the knowledgeable viewers that are on here might know this, but some might not. So it's worth pointing out that this debacle that they said where it all melted down and they had all these guys allegedly dying, clean it up and getting posthumous medals and things like this. What people didn't get told was there's a very, very large radar array there right next to it. And it's like hundreds of feet high and 100 yards across. Now, a lot of your knowledgeable viewers will know that radar is a line of sight apparatus, right? Radar can't go round corners, yeah.
No.
And there was a guy, I can't remember his name now. He was on about this radar installation at Chernobyl, and he was saying that they was using it to scan and spy on the eastern seaboard of America. Now,
right,
you know, call me old-fashioned, but it seems like there should be 19,000 foot of alleged curvature in the way of that experiment if we're on a big spinning ball.
Yeah.
So why would the Russian government spend billions of rubles building a line of sight radar to look at something that's behind 25,000 foot of curved ocean? I mean, what are they using it for? Watching seagulls? You know, what's that about?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
There's
the elephant in the room.
Yeah. You're right. And I think that, I mean, it's an interesting
and they didn't want people looking at it, so they blew this power station up.
Yeah.
Well, good point. I mean, John Basilone said they definitely have nuclear reactors on aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. Well, yes. I mean, yes and no. I mean, we've known about radiation for years. I mean, radiation is natural. It comes. It's it's a gas that it comes up in Cornwall. You know, the rocks that give it off. It's very dangerous. I don't know, but I really do wonder about the weapons side of it, because I think by now some arsehole somewhere would have said, don't press that button. What, that button? You know.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, somebody somewhere. I mean,
if they had all these millions of nuclear bombs, some clown in some banana republic somewhere would have got hold of one and he'd set it off, wouldn't he? You know, just to say, I wonder what this does. Bump and press a button, and then, you know, he's been mushroomed, hasn't he? But
what about?
But no, never happened. That's weird, isn't it? It's never happened.
Well, when the Berlin Wall came down, they said 100 bombs the size of suitcases had disappeared.
Yeah. Disappeared. Yeah.
Where they got to, I'm sure they, you know, El Presidente would have had one. In some tin pot country. Yes, I do question it. As for nuclear fission in power stations, that might be a completely different subject. I don't know. I'm not a nuclear scientist, but
yeah. Well, Aaron Dover was looking into all that when he suddenly decided to commit Suicide whilst living on a tropic island with a 19-year-old bride and $10 million in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a classic suicide case, Aaron, wasn't he, really? You know, I mean, there's no wonder.
Interesting. Now, Rick Allen has said, what about stars? They use fusion. Do they? That's what we're told.
But what he needs to ask himself is, what are stars?
Well, that's it. I mean, we're going by what we're told.
What are they?
But are they? Is it true what we're told? We don't know. This is the thing. Now, what's this? You got any ones here? Oh, we've got one.
I trust NASA and the European Space Agency and Tim Peake as far as
you could throw them.
As far as I could throw a dead elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicely, yes. Hachi, we are in the doggy bag stuff. The locals hang from trees. Yeah, that's what they do around here. And there's a place in Enfield that they call the Street of Hanging Lanterns. And the reason why is because they have dog shit up on the trees. Yeah, haven't you seen that where you live? They do it all around here, yeah. Yeah, they have a doggy bag and they tie it up on the branches of the tree. So if you're not careful when you're going through a path, you might brush against it. As a country, never mind me and him, will always love anything that's ancient ruby. Coronation Day approaches. That's it. Sorry, I don't understand that. She can.
Right, what's the next one then? John, I personally think they're going to set up a phony scripted war where it is agreed ahead of time. The US and their few allies will purposely lose conventional war and capitulate to China and Russia.
Well,
yes, I think
anything could happen. He might well be right.
Well, that's it. I mean, the Vietnam.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Well, John, I know you're in Alabama, aren't you, John? And because we got viewers from all around the world, Alabama, Australia. Oh, hello, John in Siam. Hello, mate. He's a Brit in Siam.
That viewer from Australia, I've got a question for you. Do you feel upside down?
New Zealand, not Australia.
Yeah. New Zealand, yeah.
Not far off, but in fact, he's put a comment here, Dave. Comment from Stig. Come into the Kiwi bush with me, mate. Leave your toys at home.
Yeah, well, I'll leave all my toys at home apart from my survival knife and my wallet.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got rid of that old ugly cow. What's her name? Makinda? Is it Makinda?
Jacinda Ardern, former assistant mass murdering war criminal to a Tony Blair. You might remember him from murdering 500,000 Iraqi children and then being given a Lifetime Achievement Award from a charity called Save the Children.
Yes.
Unique. You know it makes sense.
Yes. And Jacinda might be a bloke. As if you've seen the tight dress and the funny photos, he's walking along.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Big Mike Obama is not a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Mickey Boom Boom Obama.
Oh, big bag. Yeah. She either that or she puts her carrot and vegetables in a funny face. Right.
Oh, hang on. There you go. Stig, don't get me started on Jacinda.
No.
She's a loon. I mean, how did she get so ugly, though? Bleeding teeth. I mean, you know, I bet her husband puts 2 paper bags over her head in case one comes off.
Yeah.
That's deeply unpleasant, Chris.
I know.
Slap yourself for that.
Right, there's one from Ancient Ruby here. I was told many years ago China will join forces with Russia, which is happening now, to war on USA, and it's threatening now. Yet the war will be stopped.
Yeah. Well, there's a book that the late, great Robert Newman sent me, and he sent it on PDF, and it's somewhere floating around in my computer. I don't know where it's gone. It was written by a bloke who went into it and said that the Vietnam War was all contrived. Both sides agreed that it should be a sustainable war, and it's due to go on virtually forever, not only to cull the youth of America, but also to help the military industrial complex. And Nixon put a spoke in the works by stopping it.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done, and that's why they had the Watergate thing.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
yes, so apparently it wasn't that bad after all. So who knows? But as what I said last week, or was it the week before, that the fake landing on the moon was all a misdirection to take people's minds away from the Vietnam War, because the old body bags were coming back, and let's look at the moon, shall we? And get 3 men in a tin can to go there. I don't think.
Yeah, when the I'm quite interested in the moon, because I just remember when they was filming the lunar module taking off to go back to Earth.
Yeah.
And I just can't help, thinking, what became of the cameraman?
Yes.
Did he just sacrifice himself? Yeah, I'm just going to film this taking off. Yeah, right, there you go, right. And then just choke out and die. Have they made a human sacrifice just so they can film that taking off to come back to alleged Earth?
And why is it when they kick the soil up, it didn't stay like it does in Australia? Because if it's 16G, it'd be like a sort of a cloud, wouldn't it? It'd be staying.
It would. It'd have been a big cloud. Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. It is. It's just.
No, it's just beyond a joke, mate. I mean, we're all right laughing at it, but NASA and these other space agencies are taking something like $82 million a day out the taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
something like
for
that.
all this space fakery.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen these Elon Musk SpaceX rockets that are allegedly reusable, and they land backwards, right? They take off, right, and then they land backwards like that. They come down like that, and they just land backwards. I mean, I was talking to a guy on one of the YouTube channels I follow, who's a real big NASA fanboy, and I was saying, I've just been watching these rockets landing backwards, and I've decided, right, I'll go on video call with any of you lot who are believing this, and if you can throw a pencil up in the air and make it land on one end without it falling over, I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't work like that. Things don't land on their end. What's all that about?
But as I said, I've seen a command module in the Science Museum. I couldn't stop laughing when I was looking at it. I mean, we covered that last week, but we're going to get Andrew Johnson on the show next week. He's coming on next week, and he's going to be talking about, amongst other things, 9/11. And
9/11, yay, 9/11, yeah. That's when aluminium aeroplane decided that they could crash into structural steel reinforced concrete buildings weighing over 50,000 tons and cut through that structural steel reinforced concrete building like a hot knife through butter.
Correct.
Simultaneously turning the whole building into dust, removing 35% of its mass as it falls, and burning everybody to a crisp so that there's no remains and no aeroplane parts remain because they all melted, but also able to preserve the hijackers' passports that weren't even scorched.
I know.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's going to be covering that because he's good friends.
If an aluminium plane can cut through structural steel reinforced buildings like a hot knife through butter, I advise nobody to go and drive on the motorway in summer, because if a blue bottle hits your windscreen, it'll take your head off.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew is friends with Dr. Judy Wood, who wrote the book.
Dr. Judy Wood, Where Did the Towers Go? What a book.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant book.
And actually, I think they're going the show, Where Did the Truth Go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's to be next week. So that's going to be quite one. So, and we got an interesting one here, Deb, from, was it John Buzzingloan again? The one world oligarchy wants a world modelled after tyrannical China or the old Soviet Union. Klaus Anal Swab, as I call him, dream society. Yes, And if you go onto Telegram, on my Telegram channel, which keeps news every day and is more and more subscribers to it, so please subscribe to my Telegram channel. It covers what a chap says about that. Here it is going along the bottom there. And it's also in the description below. So you can go to Telegram. Please subscribe to the channel. You will find that.
Wow, look at that. I'm off to turn my heating off.
Oh,
It's 26 degrees in here.
oh,
I'm
Like
turning my heating off.
it's turning heating off.
But no, that's the thing. You know, what we've got is, what was I talking about? Oh yes, is a chap on there talking about this society where we'll have nothing but we'll be happy.
Yeah, you will own nothing and be happy. Klaus Schwab. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
And when
If
you
he comes near me, he won't even own his teeth.
Fighting talk for you, Dave.
yes. But he's friends with old Biggie, isn't he? Who's was it June? Isn't it? He's going to become king and I or something. I don't, you know. But
King Charles.
yes.
Yeah. He's friends with King Charles. Yeah. King
So
Charles, but most famous for being Jimmy Savile's best friend and confidant for 35 years.
Yes.
Obviously, they only talked about the weather.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his brother also doesn't perspire, does he? Doesn't sweat.
No,
Not at all. No.
He was born without sweat glands.
I was quite amused by that photo of Prince Andrew with his arm around that unfortunate victim, and
Yes.
it was allegedly in Epstein's house.
Yeah.
This photo, and Prince Andrew on a TV interview said, "No." He said, "That's not real. That's been photoshopped. That's no way. No. That can't be real because that's upstairs." So he knew what the upstairs of Epstein's house looked like. That photo's fake. That's upstairs, not downstairs. What a geezer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, joking aside, hang him.
Yeah.
I agree.
Lynch the bastards. Yes.
Hang him.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of that, really. Well, no, I call it medieval bungee jumping. So instead of having an elastic going around the legs, you have a solid rope around the neck.
That's right. Yeah, works much better. Yeah.
But, was it dancing on air? That's another one.
Yeah.
Now, Louise Wilcox says, I can't stand peanut butter, but I've got several jars.
That's always a good combination, isn't it? Hey? If you can find something you really hate, buy loads of it. You know it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, when you look at this is an interesting one. Oh no, you've already read that one out, haven't you? Yes. But with survival, really, it's in the mind as well, which is most important.
That's a very important part of it. Yeah.
You've got to have a positive view of things. Now, I believe in laughing at the bastards, because if you laugh, you're going to achieve much more.
Yeah, it's the rule of threes. 3 seconds without hope.
Mm.
You know, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
Yeah.
Rule of threes.
Yeah.
3 seconds without hope. So you need it. You need it in here.
Yeah. That's it.
Get your mindset right.
There's interesting one here, Deb. A good documentary called Blackout Britain explains how the power goes off gradually by service. The preppers get robbed for being trusting. It's more like a movie, and there is a USA version also. This is Dan MC. That's interesting. I think that you've got to do what you're comfortable in doing and stay around your surrounding area, because I've got a feeling what they might do is say, right, we're rounding this group of this area up because there's contaminated something. That's where you've got to move quick and get out of that area as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's why you have a minute bag. They had a minute man in America. You've got to have a minute bag that you put on. You've got survival in there for 48 hours. And I think that's, you know, and what I would carry is what I have in there is corned beef, because corned beef is the best you can have. It lasts for ages. Secondary is, they say, spam, but you can actually have this real. There it is.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that's it. Very similar to mine.
Yeah. Maxpedition Falcon 2, the one they all want.
Yes.
That's the one.
What about a bivvy bag?
It's all in there. Everything's in there.
Is that 90 litres, Dave?
What?
How many litres is that? 90?
No. It's only 30 something, but it's got a lot of molly attachments on it. It's real. It's the real deal. I mean, you can Google them. Maxpedition Falcon 2. That's what you want.
Right.
The world's ultimate rucksack.
What about bivvy bags? How do you feel about them?
I've got them. I've shown you those mylar on the inside and camo on the outside ones on a couple of shows, haven't I? Yeah. It's they will keep you alive, and more to the point, because the mylar on the inside, in an escape and evasion scenario, authorities, just for the sake of argument, I mean, obviously this could never happen, but just for the sake of argument, the government became your enemy. Imagine that.
No.
Right. So if the government became your enemy, their chief method of searching for people is with thermal imaging cameras from helicopters. Now, if you get in the mylar bivvy bag that's camo on the outside, because it's multi-cam on the outside, it'll blend into the woodland environment or the semi-woodland environment from a visual standpoint, from a white light or red light standpoint. But because it's mylar on the inside, it's reflecting 99.9% of your body heat back at you. So you're not having a heat signature. There's no man-shaped heat signature. You've all watched these police chase videos where it looks like they're hiding in the trees. The helicopter switches its thermal imaging on, and there they are, just like dancing, aren't they? And they always get caught. Now, an idea I had, and I'm currently designing how to do it without it ripping the full bag. I've got one of these bags, and I've got a template and cut like a fox shape out of it. So it's got a fox shaped hole in it.
Right.
Yeah. Like a fox.
Yeah.
And that means that if you was laid in it, right, the amount of body that escapes through that fox-shaped hole will make the helicopter think that you are a sleeping fox in the woods.
Yeah.
Let's say for fox's sake. Yeah, for fox's sake, we won't go land and find out.
No, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes. And but that. So, what is that material again, Dave?
Mylar. It's the same as things of these medical mylar blankets that they use for shock victims and things, but it's a bag that's made out of it. You can climb inside it, and it will keep you alive in ridiculously low temperatures, but it's not that comfy.
That's interesting. That's because,
and they're only about you get two of them in there.
Right. Yeah.
Also,
they're only small, aren't they? I can go and get one if you want and show the actual packed size of it.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. Because what I was going to say is, my attitude is, I believe you'd be in an urban environment, so I don't have camouflage. My bag is green, and so you just sort of blend in. If you're in an urban environment, you will just blend in with the rest.
Yeah.
So it's greens and browns and sort of, like what would be. So if you have camouflage, you do tend to stick out like a sore thumb in an urban environment. That's the problem. Fine in forests, but not in urban. So our attitude is, you'll be more in an urban environment than you will anywhere else. Yeah. And of course, you survive in what you're used to. I'm not used to being in a forest, but I am used to being in an urban environment. So I would sort of find places to bug out and things like that. So, but the other thing that is very important is to have the Swiss Army knife, because to have a tin opener. Because if you find a tin, you can open the bloody thing. I do know actually how to open a tin without a tin opener. It's very simple. Do you know how it is?
No.
You find some concrete and you rub especially with the cans of tuna, you actually rub the rim away and the rim comes straight off. You don't really need to. It takes a long time, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Here it is, Mylar.
Wow.
Camo on the outside, Mylar bivvy bag. You can almost get two people in there.
Yeah.
It's like the size of a double sleeping bag.
Right.
But I recommend it just for one person because you get too hot with two people in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this will remove your entire heat signature, and as you can see, it's camo on the outside.
Yeah.
But it's very small. You can fit in your coat pocket.
Yeah.
Do they last? Is it one use only, or can you use them several times?
Oh no, they can. You know that you can repack them. They're quite. I mean, you've got to be careful with them because they're not super robust, but they are reusable, and they're only they're under £10 on eBay. Them.
Yeah.
Wake up soaking wet though. That's the trouble with all the perspiration from it.
You will wake up soaking wet, so I wouldn't recommend long-term repeated use of them. They're more of an escape and evasion, lifesaver for a high danger moment. And then you'd have to make other arrangements for keeping yourself warm and dry, because as everyone knows, if you start sweating in a cold environment, you'll be dead in a very short time, because the body loses heat 25 times quicker when it's wet than it does when it's dry.
Yeah.
So very important in a thermal regulation, from a thermal regulation standpoint. If you're having to do work to, say, create a shelter or build traps or any kind of manual work and it's quite cold, really important to vent your clothes, unlayer, take layers off as you get warm. Don't allow yourself to start sweating, because in a cold environment, that's going to kill you.
Yes. It's like with your socks. If you get damp socks, your feet will get cold.
Yeah, very, very, very important that a lot of people overlook. If you've got a bug out bag, take spare socks. Take spare socks, because if you end up walking a long way, you definitely want 2 pairs of socks on, unless you want to push the boat out and get the 1,000-mile socks that I've got, because they are 2 pairs in one, but they're designed and sewn together, and they have like merino wool and cotton, and they're blister proof for 1,000 miles. But for anybody who's on a budget and things, don't want to pay £15 a pair for the socks, the Sports Direct 50p a pair socks, 2 pairs of them, nearly does the same job. So all these things can be done on a budget.
They can. And also I found merino wool is essential, and I actually have bamboo inner sock and merino wool outer. But at a push, you can put carrier bags on each foot and then put the socks over them. So
if your feet are extremely cold, carrier bags are a really good idea until your feet get warm. But I would recommend removing the carrier bags when your feet get so they're not numb, because you don't want them sweating in the bag, because then when it comes out the bag, you're going to freeze and you'll get frostbite. So.
And also it attracts all the bacteria and you get itchy feet, and it's really bad. It's not really good. But actually I've found that those little heater things you buy where you tear off a strip and shove it in your sock, they're all right, but I found you get itchy feet with them because it gets too warm and they're a bit uncomfortable. I found you walk around these sort of lumps under your feet. Yeah. So I think a good pair of boots, things like, as I say, Lower or Altberg, they will allow they'll allow a certain amount of air around your foot, and your feet don't sweat. They're just comfortable in them. And that's what I wear when I sort of go into sort of muddy areas and things like that, You
don't want to be getting trench foot, because that's no good.
Yeah,
that's right. And look what Tony Blair has, trench mouth, So
a lot of them have.
Yeah. But there's lots of little tricks and tips like that, And also, when you tie your boots up, you're doing with a Parisian knot. You can actually look that up on YouTube.
Yeah, interestingly about socks, I don't think we've brought this one up, but I follow a channel called Survival Russia on YouTube.
Yes.
And
yes.
From a thermal regulation standpoint, he's the godfather of survival on YouTube, because he lives in Siberia. Yeah. You're talking about minus 55 degrees where he is in winter.
Yeah.
And he does these Siberian military foot wraps instead of socks. and it's an oblong of material, and you fold it round your foot in a certain way, and if they get wet or they get dirty, you can wash them out and hang them out, and they dry in seconds in the Siberian winter wind, and then you can just scrunch them up. All the water falls off as frozen ice, and then you can put them straight back on.
Yeah,
and that's what the Russian military use: foot wraps instead of socks.
Right.
Because they're a flat sheet.
Yeah.
And because the toe end is essentially open, then you don't get your toenails poking through them, and they'll last forever.
That's interesting.
That makes more sense, actually.
Yeah, they are good. They're really good. I have actually been I've been practicing of how to do them, because there's a number of different methods of folding them. It's it's variable, like the shemag. You know, you can wear it in lots of different ways. Yeah.
I've got a couple of them.
Oh,
yeah, these are good. This is a military issue one. The only military issue one that was ever issued to the British is a desert sand colour.
That's what I've got. One of them.
Yeah, but obviously multiple uses, a ridiculous amount of uses, which we don't have to go into. I mean, you know, it's an improvised weapon. It's a water pre-filter. It's char cloth. It's tinder. It's a bandage. It's a backpack. It's everything.
Cover your head also in the sun.
I mean, its original purpose is to keep you shaded from the sun, but if you wet it, it can keep you cool in a desert environment. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment, and there's always one in my grab and go bag, or whatever you want to call it.
There are Chinese rip-offs, and you can actually buy a real Palestinian one. There's a one factory in Palestine.
I know there is, yeah.
And
they're really high quality, those as well.
High quality. I've got the British Army one, got several of them, and I've actually found that when you put them on, you never seem to get, with wool, when you have a woolen scarf, it can either make you a bit itchy or you get over hot with them. But with shawls, you don't get over hot.
They're really good for temperature regulation.
Oh, yes. And they're lightweight. You can shove them in your pocket. They're very small. They crunch up very small.
Oh, yeah.
And like wool. So that is, I always take a shamag with me. I think they're brilliant, you know. And I've had people laugh at saying, "What was it? What you got? Because you wear it in a certain way." And I try and hide it, you know. We've got a shemag on, you know. But they are bloody good, aren't they?
Really are. Phenomenal.
But
right. What time are we supposed to be running until?
Oh, we're going about 10 minutes or so. We got. This is an interesting one. Robert Moore says the radar in Chernobyl, and that place and all was the woodpecker. I remember the woodpecker. You tune in on shortwave, you go, and nobody knew what it was for.
No.
And do you remember those spy stations? 10, 3, 6, 9, 8. Nobody's been able to crack them. What they are?
No.
Because you've got the British one, which is what was it now? Lincolnshire poacher. And just plays the same few notes. Then you got they found out, you know, that one there's another one that played German army music. Apparently it wasn't from Germany, it was from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And some of them were quite good actually, but very weird.
Quite a few of them, but nobody understands what they're all about.
The squeaky wheel, that one was in America. It goes all the time. But the Russians,
excellent impression of a squeaky wheel there, Chris. You deserve an Oscar.
But they were really, and also the backward stations where they spoke backwards. Zip, whoop, yeah. You know,
Robert's asking, in terms of prepping, how useful are plastics such as bubble wrap and bin liners for insulation and comfort?
Excellent, really, very, very good. If you was in a position where all your eating was removed from a room, from your house, if you get some gaffer tape and sellotape bubble wrap all over the walls, or cardboard, or bin liners, or a combination of them, it can massively increase the heat in that room just with your body heat that you're giving off. And then if you light a few candles, it's a winner.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you can turn candles into a conductive heater by, say, you know, putting this on a pile of coins or something like that.
Yeah.
You turn it upside down, have a couple of pile of coins on your table to hold it up so there's an air gap. Stick some tea light candles under that. This gets red hot.
Yeah.
And it radiates heat out. So if you, and also as Chris pointed out on a previous show, if you put a small tent up in your room, in your living room, you can just heat that small area with a tea light candle heater, a convector like this, and you can have it. You know, if it's 0 degrees in the room, you can have it at 25 degrees in no time.
Yeah.
My arms are in. That's weird.
Is
isn't
it?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to it.
We've probably been on a computer a lot. I find my arm hurts a lot using the mouse. But the thing is, those cups, they're Dutch, aren't they? And they're a special metal. And
This is an interesting cup because wow, I sound like Eric Oldthwaite, don't I? Guess who's got a new shovel, our mum? You know.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I know that one. Yes.
Yeah. This is an interesting cup. I'm a right train spotter, aren't I? Anyhow, what it is it performs the same as stainless steel, right? But it's called austenitic steel, and the Dutch Army mess tins here.
Got one of them.
Yes.
These are made of the same stuff. And it never rusts, but it's not aluminium, so it's safe to drink from, but it never rusts, and it's non-ferrous metal. It's austenitic steel. And for all you more advanced survivalists that's watching, if you've got a non-ferrous cup, a lot of people use aluminium for this reason.
Yeah.
You can put water in it, and you can float a leaf and needle compass, and it'll point north if the metal is non-ferrous. So you can have a compass float made in this, which you wouldn't be able to do in the 58 pattern Osprey cup, because that's ferrous steel. It's stainless steel, and these are austenitic steel for that purpose. So it makes it a really good multi-use survival item for that reason.
I got mine off of eBay, and I got it for quite cheap actually, and they're Dutch Army surplus, which you were saying, Dave, are pretty good Dutch stuff as well. But as I say, Polish is shit. And so French I found is a bit shitty. Italian, they're right for thermals, funny enough. They do very good thermal gear, Army surplus. So, you know, it's but you need an M65 jacket. That's a must. Have you got one, Dave? M65?
No, I've actually got rid of mine. I didn't like it. Because, you know, basically it was really old, and I think they're good if you can get a new one. But mine was real old, so I got rid of it. And I've actually I've manufactured this.
Ah, he's manufactured one.
Well, I've remanufactured it. It's your classic field smock in DPM. And it was originally made as the DPM windproof smock. It's a British military 95 pattern, or soldier 95 for those who are more knowledgeable about makes and models. But what I did with this, because it was always a windproof smock, but they've never been waterproof. Now I got it and I painted it all over severely, massively with Fabsil Gold. That's meant for outside tarp waterproofing. And it took nearly 2 months to dry, hung up in the shed. But once I've done it, it's the most waterproof jacket I've ever seen anywhere. And because it wasn't originally designed as a waterproof jacket, it's breathable. So it's better than any Gore-Tex you can get.
Really?
And these are only about 40 or 50 quid for an unissued one. And more pockets than you can shake a stick at.
They have,
we all know you survive out your pockets. So you can get nearly a full bug out bag in this jacket with no rucksack.
Yeah, you can.
So they're a phenomenal asset to have.
Well, I've got a German Parker and also an Austrian M65. It's a copy of the American M65, but I think it's better quality in many ways, the Austrian one. And it's identical to what they had in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But the good thing about the M65 jacket, in any weather conditions, it'll keep you warm. And even if it gets a bit warm, it's still it's cotton. But there's a big myth that they're waterproof. It's true what Dave said. They're not waterproof.
No.
They're not. They do soak up the water quite badly. And what I have, if I go out and it's absolutely chucking it down with rain, I've got a German army poncho.
Yeah.
And that
I've got the 58 pattern British poncho. I've got it in that bag there. Fantastic item.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Really
Yeah.
heavy duty.
trouble is people sort of look round thinking, bloody hell, is he just escaped from the German SS or something? You know.
Yeah. Stalag Luft V.
Look, yeah. But no, it is very good quality. I try and get new as well. I don't buy second hand so much.
There, I'll tell you what, the 58 pattern ponchos are hard to find unissued now.
Yeah, they are.
Good
Yes.
God. Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
lots of.
Right,
Anyway.
we've got a couple of questions. I don't know which one you're on about, Stig, but how effective are those wee heaters?
Which wee heaters?
I'm not
Which
sure.
are you referring to?
I'm not sure. Oh, you.
Oh, Chris. Yeah, it's not so much a heater as a stove.
Stove.
But if you want to use it as a small space heater, they're really very efficient. But you know, if you're eating a confined space, as we said earlier, use this. Don't use meths because you'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
If it's in a confined space, use bioethanol for fireplaces. It doesn't need a flue, and you'll be able to heat a small space really effectively. But obviously, you know, be mindful of what your mini shelter's made of. If you sat there with a poncho and you're using it inside that, you probably want a tea light instead of something with a big flame.
Yeah.
You know, in order not to, you know, kind of
Right.
torch yourself. You don't want to be, you turn yourself into a Roman candle.
Barbecue.
You can actually use an old greenhouse heater. You know, the greenhouse heaters, like the and you can use that on that. Don't use paraffin, but you can use that. What Dave just showed, it was ethanol, and it really is terrific. You know, but they don't pump out that much heat. That's the problem, those greenhouse heaters. But anyway, I think we're coming to the end of the show. Aren't we?
Yeah, I've got to get off anyway. So
Right.
I really appreciate all the viewers tuning in and me being allegedly backed by popular demand and that. I do enjoy trying to help people, and that's the only reason I come on here, because I want to help people to get into the idea of being prepared to survive without the government's help.
Yeah,
because but believe me, these people are not there to help you at all. They're quite the opposite. They're parasites, and they will be the engineers of your demise if given the opportunity. So you need to learn to exist outside their grid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, more people have been killed by their own government than all the wars put together.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, they're not there for you. Never have been. And always remember what I've often said: usury scammers rule countries, unelected that is. Unelected civil servants run countries, and governments are there to make sure that people don't realise the first two facts and to rob you to pay the usury scammers.
That's right. Yeah.
That's really what it's all about. And every leader that has tried to stop usury, with the exception, I think it's two, has ended up.
Yeah, people who've gone against usury banking cartels include Adolf Hitler, Colonel Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein,
and also President
the former president of Venezuela. What's his name?
and President Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln.
The only one that didn't was who was the Prime Minister? Lloyd George.
Right. Yeah.
Lloyd George. He introduced the greenback. No, he didn't introduce greenback. He introduced the debt-free pound, which was called the Bradbury pound. He introduced the Bradbury pound in 1914, which was based on the efficacy of the country. And then in 1916, when he became Prime Minister, he was Chancellor then, he became Prime Minister, he abandoned it. Andrew Jackson was the last leader to pay off the national debt completely. That's interesting.
Quick question before you go, Dave.
Yeah.
Ruby wants to know what do you use to hide your scent if hunting?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't want to be carrying anything because it's just extra weight to carry. The professional hunters use various liquids that are commercially available, but I'd probably recommend just rolling about in the soil if you're actually trying to stalk something. Having said that, hunting to me is not really a good idea because you're performing one function. It's a bit like fishing. You're performing one function. What you should really be doing is learning how to set up passive hunting and fishing rigs where you have a spring pole to set the hook in a fish, and you have an L7 trigger, carve an L7 trigger, line out to your hook and bait, line up to the spring pole. It pulls it, it whips it up, it does it for you. You can set 50 of them up.
Yeah.
You know, you can set 50 snares up while you're walking along with your bow and arrow or your catapult or your rifle or whatever, trying to find that one piece of big game. You might starve to death.
Yeah.
You know, and as far as masking your scent goes, and anything that you touch, just rub it with the soil around it. You know, if you're setting a snare trap up or a fishing rig up, rub all the parts with the soil that's around it. Not so much fishing because obviously fish are underwater, but snares can be smelt out by animals, and you don't want them smelling humans. So, I mean, there's a school of thought that says WD-40 works for it, but personally, I doubt that.
No, I doubt
the same sort of people that think that WD-40 cures arthritis on their knuckles and that, spraying it on their hands and going, yeah, it works now, look, yeah.
Children's used to use it.
WD-40. You know, that is the most misused thing ever. It's a degreaser. People use it in oil locks. It's not meant for that. It's to dry them out.
Sorry, Dave. Questions are coming in, and I know you want to go.
No, I'm all right. No, I'll carry on. No problem.
What is your view on good air rifles?
Virak made in Hull.
Right.
Really?
Local then.
What about, I mean, there's the ones that there's the spring loaded, which is the old fashioned type. Then you've got the other type, which you sort of cock round. And then there's the ones where you have the air canisters. Now, I'm very much against the ones with the air canisters because in a survival situation, once you've
got to carry the stirrup pump with it.
Yeah.
To pump it up.
Yeah, but what about the other?
Probably a brake barrel spring action one. Yeah, they're all right for. You can nail rabbits and squirrels and rats and other edibles, you know. But again, you're having to actually hunt these things. I mean, a good pro tip if anybody's interested in it, if you're trying to harvest a large number of rabbits, say, yeah, you'll shoot the first one, and then instead of harvesting that rabbit, you'll sit it up and prop it up with a stick. So it looks like it's just sat there and it's not alarmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the rabbits will come back out the hole and think, oh, it's okay. Yeah, Dave stood up. Look, he's got his ears out and everything. It must be safe. Yeah. And then when there's 30 of them around there, you just start whacking them all.
I see, yeah.
And every time you whack two, you leave one stood up. So you can harvest them and then still leave some calm-looking rabbits that are not running off so that it attracts the rest of them and you can get a big bagful doing that.
Right.
And it's also with fishing. You sometimes you said on one of the shows that you hang a carcass to rot.
If you harvest a rabbit or a rat or some other kind of edible animal, you'll inevitably have a load of guts left over. Now, instead of throwing them away or hiding them or something like that you might do in North America to get them away from bears, if you're doing it in England, what you'd do is you'd find a bush that's overhanging a body of water that's got fish in it, and then hang the guts on that branch. And particularly in summer, let the flies do the rest, because that'll get blown with fly eggs. The maggots will hatch out and they'll start dropping off into the water, and the fish in that area will become accustomed to that being a feeding area over the days and weeks, right? which means when you put your bait in there, they're going to think, oh, yeah, brilliant, this is in the feeding area, bang, and you'll catch them 10 to the dozen. And you would have normally wasted those guts. So this is a really good thing to, I mean, it's a bit more advanced for people, I suppose, but yeah. That's a good thing to do.
That's it. And you know, as I said, I would stay in an urban environment because that's what I'm used to. Because there's several types of survival, right? But I think the key is to stay, shall we say, under the radar, low key, don't stick out like a sore thumb. That's the,
I mean, this tactical rucksack here, this Maxpedition, it looks real tactical, military and stuff like that, But I've got this ordinary Sports Direct rain cover to go over the top of it and just put that on, and it just looks like a commuting backpack then.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So you've got all the advantages of a military grade Molly rucksack with everything imaginable on it, and then you've just got this over the top of it, so it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
So it's your grey man conversion.
Yeah.
That's it. And the other one is some people have these, what they had in the First World War. It's like a kind of webbing that they put around with pockets down the side as well. It's always good to have
the 95 pattern field smock is as good as webbing now. The pockets are that massive and varied. And that doesn't turn any edge, because even though it's camo, people wear it for fishing. So somebody walking down the street with a camo jacket on doesn't really turn heads.
Yeah.
And you know, they just think, oh, it's some guy who's into fishing or air coursing or something or whatever. Yeah. And you just get ignored, so that's okay. That's like the grey man concept, but not taking it to the urban grey man level, really.
Yeah.
We was also talking about Swiss Army knives. Now, providing the blade is under 3 inches, it's perfectly legal to walk around.
Yeah, it's legal to carry, provided it's under 3 inches and non-locking, so that it's free to close under its own thing, right? So that's it. Obviously, when it's out. And then you don't have to press anything or pull anything. It just folds up.
That's right.
That makes it legal to carry, and you don't need a reason to carry it.
And also, it is wrong to call it a Swiss Army knife. It's a Swiss Army toolkit. That's basically what it is. Because knife.
There's a lot of things on it, and it's a really versatile item. It's absolutely my top item. Yeah. This is on me every time I leave the house.
Yeah.
And with this and the rest of my wallet kit, so ferro rod and whistle, lighter, some flammable plastic with duct tape around it, water purification tablets, and a water bag. You know, that's really. I mean, I can harvest the rest in an urban environment anyway.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's it. There's always plastic bags around and things like
that.
An
18-inch tool steel gorilla bar, an oversized crowbar as well, 14 or 18-inch of one of them. If you can only grab one item in an urban bug-out situation, grab that, because it's a perfect defense weapon. It's a perfect way to get in to any building, out of any building, and it can acquire the whole kit that you need from premises that might be locked. Obviously, I'm not advocating breaking the law, but this is within a without rule of law situation.
Yes.
You know, where it's every man for himself. I would go with a 14-inch tool steel gorilla bar. I mean, if people have got these big metal doors that's got massive locks on and things like this, you just ignore the door and go through the wall. It's a lot weaker. A brick wall is a lot weaker than these reinforced doors.
Especially if it's an old brick wall, which is
you can just hit it. If you hit it a few times with a crowbar like that, and you're through.
Yeah. Because this is how the buildings stood in World War II, because the walls would flex and then come back again. Whereas modern buildings are cement mortar, and they just crumble to that. That's it, you know. Anyway, I think we're coming up to the time. Thanks for joining us, Dave. Thanks, Deb, as usual. And thank you very much for joining us. And remember, we'll be back same time, same place next week. And we might have an additional Thursday show. See how it goes. So
okay, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I hope you got some good tips out of it. Thanks for everything.
Thank you very much. And remember, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh. And remember, subscribe and all that.
Yes,
So
don't forget to
we
subscribe.
do the old outro. So here we go. Thanks, Deb. Thanks,
All right.
thanks, Dave. Here we
See
go.
you later.
See ya. Bye.